Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. I am Chris Gore. It's Versus on a Monday. That's right, our St. Patty's Day edition. Today, a storm is coming. Snow White is coming. And we will talk about it. Plus, box office, your chat comments and questions, and a literal Justice League Jedi Council of commentators. And Alan Ng. They're all here. They're all here today to talk to you. So let's get things started. Let's go. Let's start the show. Alan is here. Come on. Hey, everybody. What's going on?
Yo.
I'm pumped. It's a Monday. And I love Rob's shirt. CinemaScope, the CinemaScope logo. I love that logo.
I do
It's
too.
awesome. Yeah.
When I have less man boobs, it doesn't stretch out as much.
Well, there you go. Well, just stop drinking those beers that are, heavy
the
on
Oreos. Those delicious Oreos.
Yeah,
the Oreos, man.
By the way, the Post Malone Oreos are gone, and so are the dressed up Ruffles, the Canadian spicy dress. They're gone. How do you?
I
get
thought they would
RFK.
be.
I blame RFK. He's taking all our fun away.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
It's probably not true, but
He wants everyone to be less fat.
Yeah.
Bastard.
Yeah, there you go.
damn, your shirt
And,
looks better though.
Before other people pointed out, I played the exit video, not the intro video. I'm such
I
a
didn't
dope.
notice.
Okay, I noticed. We'll try this again. Feels a lot better.
I was still giggling
Yeah,
when you said
it's
Snow
more
White
like-
is coming. And
All right,
Crazy.
let's have our returning champions introduce themselves. Starting with
Yeah,
Dante.
what's up, guys? Dante from Rebel Riot.
Nice.
What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. Looking forward to a nice conversation about apparently a pretty good movie.
R&B here from the Burnett Work, your imagination connoisseur, always having an imaginative day.
The Angry Badger from The Angry Badger. Let's go. Can't wait. Snow White is coming.
Alan Ng, film threat. Yes, Snow White is coming. She's gonna come. Yeah.
Do not come. Do not come.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get ready to rumble.
All right. First off, let's talk about the box office. It is the box office bottom. The number one movie, Alan, if you would put up the box office, $8 million for Novocaine in its debut, and it's the number one movie. This is the worst box office in, I don't know, how long has it been? It's kind of crazy. It's
Captain America Brave New World not beating it. Remember, everyone was like, but there's nothing else in theaters. Captain America. No.
Well, Captain America comes in at number 4. Number 2, if
Yeah.
you would scroll up, Alan. Number 4, Captain America Brave New World. Alan, if you would scroll to the top. Mickey 17, number 2 with 7.5 million. Black Bag, 7.5 million. And that was not an expensive movie.
Well, it's
Captain
$50
America-
million bucks, dude.
Was it?
Yeah.
It did not look it. It
It's,
has to be the
It's
cast.
in cast salaries.
Yeah.
Fassbender was saying that this is like a mid-level movie these days, and that's why he picked it, because it's either really small budget or really huge budget, and he thought it was, and it seems apparently it was good.
I'm
Weird.
pretty sure him and Blanchett got a lot of money for that movie.
Yeah, number 4, Captain America Brave New World with 5.6 million, down 32%. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie at number 5, 3.1 million. Alan, if you would scroll. Number 6 is The Last Supper.
The Last Supper.
7,
It's
Paddington and
exactly what you
Brew.
think it-
8, Dogman. Dogman is the second highest grossing movie next to Captain America: Brave New World of 2025, and The Monkey from Neon with 2.4 million number 9, Last Breath number 10, 2.3 million. What do we take from this? This is, according to one article, which Alan will bring up, that Novocaine tops slowest weekend of the year with 8.7 million. What are your thoughts? It's really the collapsing box office.
It's kind of sad. I'm good for the Quaid kid for Novocaine, but like, yeah, number one, but it's the lowest rate, amount in quite some time.
I think we're just seeing the death of the movie theater at this point, man. I mean, we talk a lot of hyperbole about, oh, movies are over and it's all over and blah, blah, blah. But this can't sustain itself. Like, it just can't. Just from a business standpoint, this can't sustain itself. Look, is every movie theater going to go away? No. I think we're going to see a lot of the chains starting to close up and drop off. We might have some novelty theaters out there. Like in Hollywood, we have a few of them. I know Tarantino owns like 2 of them, the Vista and the New Bev. You might have some boutique theaters out there, but I think we're witnessing like the death of mainstream big theater movie watching, and
Yep.
that's not hyperbole. This is fact.
Alan,
It's gonna be like the drive-ins, right? And it's like drive-ins used to be everywhere. Now you see
Now there's like
onesies,
2.
twosies. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
it's gonna be like that.
there's like 300 drive-ins, 300 or 400 nationwide. There's ones here, in Southern California. There are a few, but at their height, drive-ins had 6,000 screens. Now it's 400 at the top. So, Alan, you are often alone in a movie theater.
Yes.
I see pictures on your Instagram. What are your thoughts?
The issue is momentum. You've got, for theater to survive, you have to have a blockbuster movie week after week after week, and get people in the habit of not only going to the movies, but thinking about going to the movies. And what we have been offered these last few weeks have not done that. And sadly, is Snow White going to save the theater?
Oh no, no chance.
From what we're hearing, it needs to save the theater.
Well, yeah. Anecdotally, I mean, we went to. Is there a story attached to this Novocaine article? Why don't you put that up?
Yes.
Yeah. So, try to keep up with what we're doing here. Like anecdotally,
Sorry,
we
what?
were looking
What are you
at
saying?
screens. No, you can just do the thing. I don't. Yeah.
All
Anyways,
right. All right.
So, okay, hey, I'm amped up. This is my people's day. We get one day a year, right? We got, some people get a month. So, look, I get one day, St. Patrick's Day. It's my
Corned
day.
beef and drinking. Let's go.
Exactly. So, anyways, so like, no, I have real concerns. Now, I do think there'll be more walk-up business for Snow White. But what is the crux of this article?
Let's see. All right. So I'm doing many things here. Here we go. Theatrical movies are struggling and studios aren't helping. The movie marketplace is in decent shape, but the flow of films, not so much. Theatrical releases, especially smaller character-driven films, just aren't getting the support they need. Take Companion for an example. Warner Brothers pretty much fumbled its release, running a vague marketing campaign that didn't properly sell the central gimmick.
Totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
The movie had a decent opening weekend, 9 million, but was quickly abandoned, with WB slashing the screen count and dumping it on PVOD just a couple of weeks later. Now here comes Novocaine, another low-budget character-driven film starring Jack Quaid. And while Quaid is likable, he's never really actually opened a movie before. Same goes for his star, Amber Midthunder, who Disney mishandled with Prey. These films are being led by actors better known for TV, and none of them have the star power to drive ticket sales on their own.
But do actors really drive ticket sales? I mean,
yeah.
are people going to movies these days to see an actor? Are they going to see, the concept or maybe the director of the movie and see what, Christopher Nolan is doing next or something like that? Or it's a high concept like, or it's a sequel to a Marvel film or something like that. I don't think people are going to see actors anymore.
but
Those
the
days
actors
are long gone.
Actors drove the box office for forever. Tom Cruise, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester.
Yeah.
Stallone.
Yeah, they drove
At
it
this
then.
point.
They don't drive them now, man. There's
Because we don't
nobody.
have stars now. We don't have stars anymore.
Right.
Correct.
Like
They
Glenn
did it
Powell is a
themselves,
pretty
by the
good
way.
actor. Who would go to a movie just because Glenn Powell is in the movie?
Well, a
Who
lot
would
of
go-
people
who
actually.
would- who
Sorry,
would like-
that's- yeah. Sorry, Glenn Powell's he's one of the newer ones that all my co-host.
But is
will talk about all
anybody
the
going
time.
to see a movie strictly like he could be in a drama, he could be in a comedy, he could be
Yeah.
in, whatever?
There
You're
are-
going to go?
Sydney Sweeney and Powell do actually get people to show up just because it's them. Like The Running Man, I want to see just because it's Glenn Powell.
Yeah, the body of work has to be there.
But Jack
it's
Quaid
weird
ain't no
because-
Glenn Powell, DA. That's the
Yeah,
point.
it-
Like, there's exceptions to the otherwise true rule. That
But I also think, you guys, that what I'm seeing, like for instance, Companion's a great example. That movie was terrific. It was a $10 million movie. If it had a decent marketing campaign behind it, nobody knew that movie was even coming out. People still don't know what that movie is, and I tell them it's good. They should go see it. The marketing in I really, and I'm not saying that if you look at these movies now, a lot of them, Black Bag is a Focus Features movie. This is a Paramount movie, but Novocaine was hardly marketed. They're not using social media the way they should use social media. They're not using everything that's available to them. They need to sell movies as an experience. Like, you got to go see this. Companion was a great theatrical experience. I saw it
I agree.
in a huge theater on a giant screen, and there was only 5 of us in the theater. And I have to tell you, it was the only movie I've seen in years where outside, all of us in the theater gathered, total strangers, to talk about how great the movie was, to the point where the theater manager came over. He actually recognized me from YouTube, and he joined in the conversation. And we sat there talking about how great Companion was and how nobody was there. And it provided, if that was full of people that had 1 or 2 drinks in them, that experience would have been amazing, because all the 5 people there, as much as we could have, we filled up the theater with our enjoyment and our laughter. And how they did not get people. And by the way, another movie that Jack Quaid starred in. 2 movies within 2 months, and both of them didn't perform. And I think that Novocaine also had an irresistible "a guy feels no pain." So when he gets stabbed, or he gets him see, one of our viewers just said that he loved it. Companion delivered the kind of goods that you would have gotten. It was a New Line movie, ironically, that you used to get from New Line movies in the 80s, whether it was Nightmare on Elm Street, whether it was Jack Shoulder's The Hidden. You'd go see these movies in the theater, and they're clearly B movies, but they're done with A-list sensibilities, and they deliver. Companion delivered, man. I wish I'd seen that in a packed house.
Yeah, I saw it with a pretty sizable audience, and everybody was laughing. Everybody was having a good enough time. I think I saw it on the screen unseen though, so if everybody just kind of showed up at rant, it's like,
you don't know.
kind of
And they showed, like,
you
when
don't
they
know
showed
what you're getting, right?
Magazine
So
Dreams was shown last week.
Yeah.
We'll probably get
I
the
saw
biggest
it.
audience at the screen. And
I guess the question I got, back in the day, we used to know what movies were coming out based on the trailers that would show, or like the little television spots that would show in between on commercials or whatever. At least that's how I knew when movies were coming out. How do people know now if nobody's watching television? Like, if everybody's on streaming, do you
Twitter,
start your advertising and your marketing and try to
TikTok.
push it on to, YouTube ads, but I mean, it's such a hit and miss thing. It used to be a clean, easy way to find out what movies were coming out. Like how I knew Novocaine was coming out? It was a trailer that I watched at a movie, and I haven't seen any other marketing for Novocaine other than trailers when I go to a movie and the preview trailers that are showing. But if you're not going to movies, then you're not seeing that. And if you're not seeing that, you're not seeing the clips ahead of the movie, then where are you seeing Novocaine? Where are you hearing about this movie?
Yeah,
like,
actually,
how would you know
Fire
it's there?
TV, Amazon. because he's connected, I've been seeing the clips of little splash screens of him pop up on my Fire Stick when I'm trying to surf at things. So like, there is no one way anymore that people learn about these things. That's unfortunate. By the way, though, to the point to everyone here, making an experience, who the hell is going to pay even conservatively $15, $16, and then they make all their money in concessions to go see Jack Quaid get beat up? Like,
Yeah, that was
you have
that
a
was the
good
point I was
there.
going to make too, because
Well, that looks like a perfect streaming movie. It looks like it was made for
right.
It looks
Yeah,
like-
Well, I mean,
Right,
my
right,
biggest
right.
problem with Novocaine is it's torture porn. It is so gross and gory. I can't imagine it appeals to a very broad audience.
but
I like
even
watching
and
white
that's
men
the
be beat
problem.
up.
but even beyond that, though, no one wants to see that. We're tired of seeing these weak, effeminate men get their ass kicked, man. Like it's. I'm sorry, we just are. Like it's
We
not.
want to see his dad do this, not his.
So what kind of movie is it? Is it an
Bob
action movie?
Odenkirk and Nobody was
It's an
different.
action movie. Is it a comedy? What is it? But my point is we're tired of seeing it, man. If it's not an action movie, then I don't want to see some wimpy guy getting his ass kicked through the whole film.
By the way,
That's
another
funny
thing to point out real quick is there's much has been made about people being cast based on their social media following, right?
Mhm.
Like this is why Zendaya is in everything, right? They've got a big social media following. Let me just say that does not translate to butts in seats
at all.
Stop
At all.
casting people just based on the fact that they have a lot of followers on whatever platform, because we know they can be bought, but we also know it doesn't translate to ticket sales. Never. There's no data that proves that.
But I can
That's
tell
why
you,
See Scarlett
I can
Johansson.
tell you why they started doing that, though. They started doing that because the way reality TV works is they cast all these people based on their following, right?
Yeah.
So Hollywood decided, hey, we're going to adopt that model that Netflix started by looking at people's social media and putting them on Love Is Blind, right? And that's why we're no, really, and that's why we're here now.
Yeah.
It's also cheap advertising. The problem is it's going to the wrong audience.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
Scarlett Johansson said that they asked her to sign up for Instagram in conjunction with the Jurassic Park like promo. She was like, "No, I'm not going to do that," but she was like very highly pressured to do so.
Wow.
I respect Scarlett Johansson's. I don't completely agree with her with not taking pictures with fans. I think that's kind of weird, but the girl does have a backbone, man, and I'll give her that.
She said it wouldn't be authentic and said no. So yeah, that's rare.
Yeah. Well, look, let's I forgot to do some intros and things at the top of the show. Let's do some soups here. I'm going to plug the Film Threat shop, and then we're going to get to our main topic for today. So let's start with soups.
Figs 93 for 5. Where are we going to where are we going to see when the Star Wars comes?
Yeah. Exactly.
All the things. Andrew Cram gifted 10 Film Threat memberships. Thank you, Andrew.
Check out the members only videos. Alan has a lot of exclusive videos there from Catalina Island Film Festival.
Catalina Wine Mixer. Lord Comet for 2. Don't forget me, Chris Gore.
I won't, Lord.
BA for $4.99. Can we mention Steve Martin's Novocaine? Great movie and hot Claire Danes.
Yes.
It's because he's a dentist.
What year is that, Robert? His Steve Martin one?
I have no idea.
I thought you'd know it offhand. Cosmin Cristani for 1.
I should, but I haven't seen it.
It's okay.
I'll find out.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I like Steve Martin.
Speaking of momentum,
Cosmin, okay.
What am I
Get these soups.
2001.
2001. Oh.
Badger, can you see it?
Yeah, I can't see the next super chat. It still says Cosmin.
Okay, it's Cosmin Cristani for $1. Just sends in
Yeah,
$1. Thank you.
Right, there we go. Lord Comet for 2. Drive-ins were great. Now they're drive-outs.
I love the drive-in. I still go.
I still go, and they have 2-for-1s.
That's great.
Oilers Workshop for $4.99. Enjoyed the video narration you did for Tony's Film Club. Wild story, and the video has 2 million views now. You should do narrations. Yeah, you should just do narrations.
Thanks, Oilers Workshop.
Lord Comet for 2. If it has Keanu Reeves in it, I'm there. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Axel's Abode for 5. Year to date in releases is $300 million behind 2024. But overall, the calendar gross for 2024 and 2025 is very close. Holdovers from December carried into quarter 1. Yeah. Red French Moon for 2. Versus equals the main course. Badgercast equals dessert. Huh, both
Hey,
yummy. Thank
There
you.
you go.
It's a whole program.
Go to Badgercast after this.
After this, Pilgrim Media for 2. The Novocaine actor is solid in The Boys. Yeah, he plays Dewey. And this is what Dante was saying.
He's the same character in every movie
He's
now.
meek and effeminate.
And he's an ensemble, a member of an ensemble, and not the star.
Is he a good actor though? That's the question.
Yeah. For the role he's cast in, yeah.
Or did he get is it nepotism that got him?
I think he's a good actor, but that doesn't mean he can lead a production.
He's a fine actor.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
I don't think I realized
a movie.
Dennis Quaid's son when I saw it.
To be headlining a film?
No, but here's the thing: just because you're a good actor doesn't mean that you can open a movie.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
right. Like there's a difference, man. Look, I don't think Jason Statham is a great actor, but I think he can open a movie for his genre.
He is opening movies.
Yeah, and he does a good job with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
this
and Daisy Ridley doing action films.
Connor Preslomsky for $199. Colin Farrell cast as Sergeant Rock. What? This was previously going to go to Daniel Craig. It's the DC character that's from Easy Company in the 50s. It's a comic book role. Colin Farrell.
A reminder to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Join us as a member on Discord, all that, and go to shop.filmthreat.com. My FF shirt arrived.
Ooh.
I'm very excited. So it's a Fantastic Four inspired t-shirt. So go to shop.filmthreat.com. I usually do that at the beginning of the show, but I forgot. So there you go. All right. A lot of other news stories to get to, and let's get to those. The Snow White had its LA premiere. And it was wild. It was wild. It was on Saturday.
Premiere.
Here we go. Inside Disney's Snow White premiere with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Emphasis on the Gadot. Do we have notes for these, or are we just going to read it? Let's read it.
I can read it.
Okay, read it.
Disney's Snow White had a toned-down Hollywood premiere with fewer photographers and only Disney-employed interviewers on the red carpet. Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot smiled for a smaller-than-usual crowd at the El Capitan Theater. The pre-party held behind the venue featured kid-friendly activities like nail painting and flower bouquet making and apple-themed drinks, an homage to Snow White's iconic poison apple. Meanwhile, Zegler and Gadot have been on a whirlwind promo tour from presenting at the Oscars to international stops in Tokyo and Spain, while Gadot hit the New York City talk show circuit. With the movie hitting theaters on March 21st, Disney is hoping the magic will translate to box office success.
Well, the person I want to know that I want to hear opinion on this is Steph from My Nerdy Home, joining us late. Thank you, Steph.
I'm so sorry I'm late.
No, don't worry about it. So what this premiere is, and I haven't been to one of those big Disney premieres. I've gone to a few during award season, but this one was very muted. It was very controlled. Rachel Zegler did do interviews with people who are from Disney, and even the invite list was very, very small from people outside of the organization. We're going to get to the early reactions, but what are your thoughts on this?
Well, they're definitely trying to make sure that the red carpet went off without like any drama whatsoever. I was looking into a lot of the people that were invited to the event. A lot of them were influencers. A lot of them were Disney specific influencers. Some of them I actually follow on Instagram. So those were like the types of people that were invited to this red carpet. And it's their first time like meeting Rachel Zegler. Like I think that she posted a video of her meeting one of the influencers, and she's just like, I recognize you in your costumes, because he puts on like Disney costumes all the time. Like he's a Disney specific influencer, and a lot of them were. So those are the types of people that came to the event. I watched a couple of interviews because they didn't really give very many, but you can tell watching them back to back to back, everybody had like specific talking points, things that they had to touch on, but in different ways, like spin it in their own way. I did notice that like when Rachel Zegler was sort of like, giving her interview, she would kind of like look up as if she's trying to recall what she's supposed to say. So
The note she got.
yeah,
Yeah.
and what she's supposed to say. But it was very muted, very toned down, and it was interesting looking at, like, Variety's Twitter page, and it was just like literally just video of the event, no interviews, no nothing. All of these media outlets, it was just video, right? Like, that's it. So and so has arrived on the red carpet. It's so strange seeing that, and I'm wondering if this is going to be like the start of something new in Hollywood, so that way, like, their movies don't get derailed by problematic actors in the future.
Right.
And if this is going to be a deal between, like, actors or studios and, like, interviewers, right? Like, hey, these are specific talking questions. You can't really ask anything controversial to our actors. It's so funny. There was actually one by TMZ. There was a video from TMZ of Rachel Zegler landing in LA, and it was somebody waiting at the airport, and he asked her specifically about, like, I believe it was like the controversy or whatever surrounding Snow White, and she just completely ignored it. And was like racing to the car. Just completely ignored the question. And was just racing to the car. So they're really, like, not trying to have any drama. I think they wanted to just get this movie out so they can focus on Lilo and Stitch, honestly.
Well, I think that she probably got advice from Karen Bass, ignoring the media there.
No one got to ask if it was the
LA's
gayest
mayor.
Snow White.
And the audience in this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I can tell you
okay.
that this is pretty on par with what Disney has been doing with the premieres for the last several films, where they just invite the influencers to promote the film on their channels, and to bring in critics who are prone to be positive toward Disney films. But this is, I think, the first time that the press tour leading up to it was treated the exact same way, where there is barely a press tour, where the questions are manicured, closely. And curated closely, and this is, I get the feeling this may be Disney's modus operandi for the
Moving forward.
Future.
Yeah, even Gal Gadot's answers to every single outlet that she visited for her interviews, it was very scripted. Like, everything was very scripted.
If you look at Gal Gadot's career, I think she's great as Wonder Woman, and she even went to San Diego Comic-Con and did a signing with Ben Affleck, among others. And there's some great footage of her interacting with a young girl who was so pleased to meet her. She has been a total pro. I don't like that Imagine video she did. I thought that was kind of lame, but in general, she's a pro. She's an adult. Rachel Zegler is an entitled child, in my opinion.
She's young.
I agree.
No. We cannot use young, man. You know, back in the day, Rob, especially back in Hollywood, like in the 90s and early 2000s, 80s, whatever, you could not act a fool like this and still have a job.
No, I agree with you there, but we live in our social media world now, and young people are full of piss and vinegar. They think they can do and say whatever they want. That they know.
Yeah, and you know what? They have to be spanked, right? Like, here's the thing. I'm sorry.
Dante wasn't spanked, Rachel Zegler. You heard it. Dante.
When you're costing the studio, when you're costing them their opening, when you're costing them their movie, you got to pay for that.
I think she is. I think she's paying
Like, you
for
have
it
to
because
pay.
she's about to disappear to Broadway for a few years. I don't think she's not gonna be a Hollywood staple for quite a while. Her name is Mud. Nobody went to watch her Y2K movie. It's like, I don't think this chick's got a long career ahead of her, at least until she cleans up her image. She's got to do a lot of image rehab right now, because you played Snow White, which in my opinion is one of the most important Disney princesses, if not the most important Disney princess, the one that started it all. And you just had to be a kind, polite person out there everywhere you go on social media. You just had to just play the part of a princess. Like I always said, Halle Bailey, regardless of how you feel about Halle Bailey being the Little Mermaid, she was a princess the entire way through that entire run. She was a sweetheart. That's all Rachel Zegler had to do. But you can see through her social media, she's just that person. She is that kind of chick. She's like, she's hateful, and people don't want that in their actors and their actresses headlining movies. They just don't want it. And so she's going to have to disappear, in my opinion. You know, go to Broadway, sing. They'll love her over there. They'll embrace her. The Broadway culture, they'll love her. But in Hollywood, you know, when you're in front of fans and people are going to popular media, that's not happening.
Look, the best case scenario for this girl, if I'm being completely honest, is she has to disappear for a little while, go do Broadway, do all this other stuff. At best, if she ever comes back to Hollywood, the best she's going to get is supporting roles. That's it. She's going to be the best friend of the lead actress. Like that's the best she can hope for.
Unless this movie does Mustafa numbers.
Yeah.
Which it very well can.
We'll see about that.
Even with that, studios have to ask themselves, is she worth the
Is it
trouble?
worth it?
Well, if she changes, I mean, she could change. There's a possibility.
I don't know. Well, I mean, speaking about age, like Halle Bailey is a year older than Rachel Zegler. There's not that big of an age difference between them. But I have noticed that with some of the interviews and some of the presentations that Rachel Zegler has been giving, they have been kind of focusing in on her age and how she was young when she took the role, and saying like, I was 19 when I took the role, kind of like focusing in on like, you know, all that stuff that I said, like I was young when I took the role and I'm 23 now. So she's like, I've grown so much since then. So they have kind of been, you know, trying to say
when
like,
she
oh,
said, I hope Trump supporter never knows peace. What was that? That was in November. I mean, how much has she grown from November? You know, because she's still talking that talk. All right. Like she's still that chick. That's why I said she ain't changed. All right. She's still talking that talk. So she got to go away. She got to learn her lesson. She'll disappear for a few years and then she'll probably come back, get a new PR manager who will clean all of this stuff up and teach her some manners. And then by the time she gets back, she'll probably be all right. She will start off with smaller roles, but you know, we've seen this in Hollywood. This isn't new.
I'm sure she had a very uncomfortable conversation with her agent at some point. And that's even if she still has an agent. Who knows? I mean, at this point, I mean, agencies are dropping people left and right these days in Hollywood. So,
well, generally, Rachel Zegler would never hear anything directly from the studio. All of the communication would go through her representation, who would feed it to her like a child. You know, like. But
her agent is getting beat up by the studios.
Exactly. I guarantee her representation is getting an earful. We have a lot of other Snow White related stories, but I want to cleanse the palate, if as it were, and take a look at some of these. To be fair, AI generated Snow White trailers.
Oh, disavow.
Yeah, they're kind of entertaining, and they kind of like this. It gives you an idea of the direction they could have gone with the movie. I mean, let's take a look. They're short, they're kind of fun. So check this out.
In a kingdom, the opposite of Zegler. She's short but not fun.
Enchanting tale like no other meets Snow White, the fairest in the land, whose kind heart and radiant beauty capture the hearts of all. But beware, the wicked queen, consumed by jealousy and vanity, will stop at nothing to be the fairest of them all. Escaping the queen's sinister plot, Snow White finds refuge in a quaint forest cottage, where 7 lovable dwarfs become her unlikely protectors and friends. But the queen's evil knows no bounds, and a poisoned apple casts Snow White into a death-like slumber. All hope seems lost until a courageous prince, drawn by tales of her beauty and kindness, arrives. With a true love's kiss, the spell is broken, awakening Snow White to a future filled with love and happiness. Experience the timeless magic of Walt Disney's Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, a story of adventure, friendship, and the enduring power of true love. Now in dazzling Technicolor. Snow White,
weird.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Don't miss it.
No.
Wow, it looks like a way better
Hey,
trailer
you
than
muted.
what Disney's putting out right now.
Chris, you're muted.
Yep.
Chris, you're
Why,
muted.
why did the dwarves look better?
Yeah.
Right.
Dwarves look better.
Right,
They look
yeah.
like actually the animatronics at Disneyland.
Yeah, I was
because
just thinking
they have that feel. I also like the little Eyes Wide Shut mask that was
Terrifying.
like stuck in there.
I hope the movie ends like the Disneyland ride.
Yeah, it's so weird the way the ride ends. Here's another one. It's the dark version.
In a distant past, there was a kingdom hidden deep within an ancient forest. Within its shadowed halls lived a young princess, her skin as pale as snow, her eyes a piercing crimson red like blood. Gazing into them felt as if they could pierce through the very soul. The queen who gave birth to the princess passed away.
Hello.
Queen ascended the throne.
Is this the vivid version?
Yeah.
Axel Braun directed.
Yeah.
Long after seizing power,
Axel Braun.
she used dark sorcery to murder the king and claim the kingdom as her own. For Snow White, she had intended to use the same dark magic, but to her surprise, the spell had no effect on her. Gazing into those blood-red eyes, an inexplicable fear rose in the queen's heart. She commanded the hunter to take Snow White into the forest and end her life. But the hunter, unable to carry out the deed, leads Snow White deep into the woods, leaving her to perish on her own. In the heart of the dark forest, Snow White discovered 7 statues. As her fingers gently brushed against one, the forest was instantly engulfed in a thick black mist.
Mira, who is the most powerful in the world?
Dark sorcery angle's kind of cool.
Once it was you. Now it is Snow White.
I have no idea where this is going. I
They
haven't
shouldn't
seen
have done
that.
that.
Oh my god!
Yeah. What's happening?
Oh,
We went.
Oh, those are the
Oh.
dwarves. The 7 deadly dwarves.
Oh gosh.
What
This
is
went off the
this?
rails quick.
Servants, awakened by the bloodline, returned
I mean,
to the
this is an
kingdom of
Got more
update.
combat vibes.
Snow White.
Here for a taste?
I'm in.
Okay. folks.
I'm here for a
I'm
taste.
in.
I would watch
Oh
that.
man, look, whatever. It just looking at that looks actually infinitely better than what we're about to see. I mean, yes, it's AI garbage, whatever. Like, I don't know. I see some of this stuff as a trailer. I've seen some like Alien in 1950s Panavision. I kind of like the look. It's very experimental. Any thoughts from you guys?
Well, I mean,
don't
look,
mind
by
it.
all accounts, people have liked the movie. I mean, it is getting
Well,
good
we'll
notices,
get
but
to
we
that.
know
Snow White. He wants your thoughts about AI garbage trailer.
Yeah. How about the dark version, Rob?
I mean, but look,
prefer that
to
version.
me, the you can do anything with panning in or panning across images, but that's not a story make.
Make that
Right.
a video game though. That was good. The magic and having the magic dark twist and whatever. And
I mean,
Snow White
I
has
would
to be
love
a
to
dark
see
sorcerer.
H.P. Lovecraft Snow White.
There you go.
See, it's possible. All right, well, moving on. If people don't have comments on that, let's actually get to the early reactions. Alan, if you would bring up the story, there are at least 3 tweets I know of, and the social reaction I believe is any time now. Both myself, Alan, and Dante are seeing the movie tomorrow in Burbank. So
Oh yeah.
yes, we will see.
Excited?
Hey, Steph, if you were here, you could be my +1.
I know. I wish I could be there. That would be awesome.
And we are definitely doing happy hour before.
We are doing happy hour at Yard House before in Burbank.
Absolutely.
We will see it. We're doing actually tomorrow night. We are doing Film Threat After Dark. We will be on with a short live stream, and we'll also do our out of the theater reaction, which I'm very excited about.
Is
our
there
thumbnail.
an embargo?
The embargo
the next
is
day. The next
the
day.
embargo is Alan. Social is anytime, but the review is the next day, Wednesday at noon. So for Hollywood on the Rocks at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, a full review. Tuesday night, simply our live stream with our reaction, social reaction. Alan, if you would go through the story, or Badger, would you go through this story?
Sure. If I can
You have the notes.
see it, I'll read it.
Somebody's got to
There you go.
scroll
Roll up.
You have the notes.
Scroll it. Or you could just find the article on your own.
Did you
Badger.
give Badger the notes?
No, it's fine. I can, Lori.
Did Lori give Badger the notes?
I got you. Yeah, she did. Hold on, I can go to the
This
Google
is what
Doc.
happens when you add
All right.
9 news stories to the show.
Yeah,
At last.
I put the article in
Snow
the
White
chat.
first reactions praise
I
remake.
mean, technically, we're on the 3rd news story, but
I've got you. I got you. So, despite all the online controversy surrounding Snow White, early reactions from the film's Los Angeles premiere are actually pretty positive. People are praising Rachel Zegler's performance, with one critic even calling her stunning. And some are saying the film is mostly successful. Of course, these first impressions are coming from influencers and fan bloggers who tend to be more enthusiastic than traditional critics. And interestingly, there haven't been many formal reviews yet, which raises some eyebrows. But for now, it looks like Disney's Snow White might not be the disaster some people were expecting. We've got a bunch of quotes from people that have seen it. One says, despite becoming an internet punching bag, Disney's remake of Snow White is actually mostly successful, wrote Matt DeGroot of Crooked Media. Rachel Zegler is an absolute star. Most of the new songs are catchy and beautifully performed, and the visual palette is sumptuous and vibrant. Gal Gadot has beautiful gowns. It's a solid 3.5 out of 5. Do you want me to read all of these, or just one or two more?
Just the quotes from people, just the review.
Okay. Paul Klein of Filmhound Magazine wrote a similar take. I may regret saying this, but Snow White is solid. I really enjoyed the musical numbers, particularly the opening one and the Queen's Evil Bop. Zegler was great in the lead role, and Gadot was fun. It's really the CGI dwarves that let the film down. The choice is baffling. Screen Rant said, despite the Bob being all over the place, hashtag Snow White is quite charming. The message lands well, the critters are adorable, and Rachel Zegler and her enchanting voice are stunning. It's almost got a full tear out of me, and I've never cried in my entire life. We Love Physical Media wrote, not a fan of Zegler or Gadot, but man, this ended up being so good. The news outlet wrote, I think this one is going to surprise a lot of people and do numbers. It's in my top 5 of Disney live action remakes. Go see it. And then lastly here from the Diz Insider. Listen, I was worried, but let me tell you, Snow White is pure Disney magic. This will end up being a lot of people's favorite live action remake. If you enjoyed Aladdin or Cinderella, you'll be happy.
Shills, all of them shills.
Well,
all
look,
shill accounts, yes.
I'm not surprised to hear this. In fact, Alan, you and I both have a contact. Rob, I think it's the same person that whispers to us about theatrical. What have you heard?
That it's good. Not great, but good. And that, again, for theaters, if this movie makes 400 million, 500 million, it's great for theaters. It may not, the movie may lose money, but in the end, if it helps the theaters, it's worth putting out there.
I also think something that is forgotten, I was saying this earlier today, is that this is a film that is going to bring in the female audience. You're going to get mothers and daughters. It's the same audience that put Captain Marvel over $1 billion. Yeah. And
it's a straight up princess film.
Yeah, it's always discounted. I mean, that's exactly what it's the American Girl audience, the Disney princess audience. And that's really kind of who it's for. I mean, this movie is clearly not for me. The hardest course I ever took in college, believe it or not, was a Disney history course. The guy, there was so much reading. I felt like I was in medical school. It was really an intense, deep dive into Disney, which served me well when I was making special features for Disney movies in the early 2000s, like Fantasia. But Snow White is a very significant IP. It's the first Disney feature film. It's one of the first animated feature films. There's an incredible legacy for this movie as far as Disney is concerned. So it doesn't surprise me that this movie turned out to be good because they've reshot things. If this movie was a bad film, it would reflect really badly on the studio. But I think that this film is going to draw in the female audience. I think mothers and daughters are going to go. I think people are going to go multiple times. And I think this movie's probably going to do okay. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I think for me,
by the way, I'm showing some of the.
By the way, Cinderella though, with Lily James, that was for me.
I'm showing some of the exclusive merch you can get. This is from the Alamo Draft House. Is doing a lunch bucket and
Regal has
service.
the heart box.
There's a cape blanket. I'll show some of it while you're talking amongst yourselves.
To me, this movie, if the music is exceptional in this film, it's going to get a good review from me. I'll tell you.
I've listened to the soundtrack because the soundtrack is already out there. I listened to the whole soundtrack to get a gauge on the movie. And make no mistake, the songs that were written by Pasek and Paul are really good. They're what did they call them? Like total bops. They can definitely, I can see them becoming earworms. Like they have great melodies. They worked on La La Land and The Greatest Showman. Those are two of probably my favorite musicals.
I think they did Dear Evan
because of the songs. So they know how to create beautiful songs. So some of the songs that I listened to, I don't know, they were fine, but they weren't memorable. I always thought that there was something, I couldn't put my finger on it, but when Rachel Zegler was, singing Waiting on a Wish for Snow White and promoting Snow White singing Waiting on a Wish, I was like, it's not resonating with me. And I couldn't figure out why. When Halle Bailey went out and performed Part of Your World, like I loved it. There were a bunch of music influencers that were, trying to do it on TikTok and on Instagram. I'm not really seeing a lot of people singing Waiting on a Wish. So that's sort of like a gauge as to how excited people are for this new music as well. And the reason it wasn't resonating with me is because it's a brand new song. It's new to Snow White. I'm not familiar with this song with Snow White. If she was singing I'm Wishing or Someday My Prince Will Come, those two songs, that would resonate with people. That would get some nostalgia going with people because that song is so recognizable with Snow White, the princess.
Yeah, well, I think that's
the princesses in general, they do resonate with girls. Yes, absolutely. I love Disney princesses. I grew up with Disney princesses, but slowly with each live action remake, they've completely changed the Disney princesses to where they're not really the ones that we grew up with. They don't lean into that femininity. They don't lean into those love stories. In fact, they've been kind of moving away from love stories. If this has a love story in it, which I think judging on the song choices, the soundtrack, it probably will, but I don't think it will have a love story the way people might think. They've been sort of leaning away from love stories. And so since they've been changing these live action Disney princesses, it's not really resonating with girls the way it should be because they're changing them so much. Cinderella was probably the best live action Disney princess that we've gotten. Jasmine, kind of. Aladdin, I think they mentioned those two because those two are probably the Disney princesses that people actually liked when I went and saw them, despite Jasmine's solo song and she becomes the Sultan at the end. That was kind of weird, but those two were good movies. If we're comparing Disney live action remakes with princesses.
We're just saying if this is good, it's going to make money. If the songs are decent, it's going to make money. I know we say we're the media, but that's only people that turn on YouTube in this corner. Most people just hear, Disney movie. And if the song sounds in any way good, they'll take their kids to it.
Well, that's the thing is the movie will succeed because it's good, but it should be great. And that's my issue is this is Disney. It should be great. And Steph, you bring up the main point. It's the motivation of both Snow Whites. In the original, Someday My Prince Will Come. In this one, she is kind of wanting to take the leadership that her father, passed down to her. That's, as good as feminism is, it's not exactly the touchy-feely feelings you want to get from a Disney film. You want to feel some romance. You want to feel love. You want to feel, aspire to something. But this is about leadership. And I don't know how much that resonates with children. And I don't think that will make a great story in the end.
Yep. I agree. I think the backlash on this film is apoplectic. I've never seen anything like it. You had two trailers back to back hit 1.5 million dislikes. That's big. That's not something to just wave away. You had chat music come out and do not one, not two, but 3 videos that blew this entire movie out of the water.
Yeah.
I'm going to be shocked if this thing does well in the box office.
Robert, what does apoplectic mean? Tell me real quick.
I'm sorry.
By the way, someone in the chat says the stop hiding behind it's not for men. I mean, clearly, like, obviously you want certain movies are definitely crossover films for everybody, but you can't tell me that this is supposed to appeal to men and women equally.
Or men and boys.
I mean, it's not that way. And there's nothing wrong with saying that it's not for men. The primary target audience for this movie, that's why there are that's why Disney princesses exist.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look, there's a lot of Disney movies that I enjoy. You know, I grew up watching Disney live action films, and they re-released all the animated classics that's how Disney made their money. Pre The Little Mermaid getting released in the late 80s, Disney made their movies re-releasing their animated classics year after year after year to the generations that hadn't seen them yet. And I think that a movie like this, I think this movie is going to do very, very well, because all the things that we've been talking about in Rachel Zegler, most people that are outside of the movie influence sphere in whatever way, they don't know.
I think it's just escaped this fear. I think Rachel Zegler escaped out. And if people talk about this, I know people in my personal life that really ain't all about this. I said, what's up with Rachel Zegler? I just keep hearing about Rachel Zegler. It's like, you know, again, all of the dislikes on the trailers, again, that's not just the YouTube sphere. That's anybody that wanted to go and look at that trailer and they saw the doors and they saw all the ridicule and the mockery going on. It's just gotten to the point where Disney themselves says, we just want to get this over with. All right. Disney, the company, they're waiting until, like, if this movie was anything decent, they probably should have already had reviews out by now. They're waiting until Wednesday before the day that the film drops to allow reviews to be given. That's generally a sign that the movie is not as good as they wanted it to be. And so they're going to hold off on all reviews. The review embargo doesn't open up until what time you say, Chris? It was Wednesday at
noon Pacific.
Okay, so you're talking about the 24 hours ahead of the film being available.
Let's be upfront about it. Disney has been doing this embargo for the last, I would say, 9 to 10 films. You know, this is nothing new.
Okay.
It's not new.
But let's also say that all the films have been pretty bad too.
Yeah, they have. I agree with Rob. This could do Mufasa numbers. Where Alan and I both saw Mufasa. It was terrible. We gave it a bad review.
Yeah.
And it went on to do well from the director of Moonlight, right? You know, like it did well.
Yeah. Chris, sing your favorite song from Mufasa.
I don't remember any of them. And also, by the way, I would push back on having raised both a boy and a girl. They both of them liked Disney movies, whether it was a princess movie or not. My son would see The Sense of Adventure or The Prince. They like Aladdin. Like
I
absolutely, yeah,
I agree with that 100%. I mean, I like all the Disney, but the thing is, also our culture has shifted. You know, when I saw Snow White when I was a kid, the whole thing enchanted me. But our culture is way different than it was. Things change. And you know, there was not a Disney movie that I didn't like because there was always an evil person in it, which, you know, there was an evil queen where I could identify with fighting against that kind of evil. But I think that our world has definitely, you know, the kids' childhood is very different today than it was 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Exactly.
And it used to be like, you know, fairy tales. I didn't care when I was a kid if I was listening to or reading or watching a fairy tale about a female protagonist or a male protagonist. I didn't care. It was a fairy tale, so it was cool. But I think that our world has changed.
Yeah, and we have to talk about the fact that Disney has lost so much trust, and I mean, this brand has been around for what, 70 years almost. I mean, and they've had such a, you know, for good. I mean, you say what you want to about them. They've had a good reputation up until now. And parents, and you're right, Rob, things are different because now parents are realizing that studios, and not just Disney, but studios are trying to sneak in these messages, right, to these kids, man. And parents now are aware of it. They're aware of the sneaky little messages that, hey, it's okay for a girl to be a boy and a boy to be a girl, and all this other little bullshit they try to pull in there, to the point where even if this movie doesn't have that, there's been so much distrust built that people are a little bit more like, it says it's for kids, but I got to be a little bit more cautious, right? Now, take that out of it completely. We're talking about a $300 million Snow White movie. That should never have happened. like that should never have happened, dude. I mean, they're never going to see a return on this movie.
Also, by the way, Disney may own Disney's Snow White, but the fairy tale is up for grabs.
Yeah,
there could be a horror version of it before the end of the year. But whatever happened, because I don't know, I'm asking this question: what happened to the Daily Wire Snow White with Brett Cooper? Is that on ice?
Cooper. I think it was a troll.
I think it was a troll. Yeah.
Do you think that trailer was just a troll? They never.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Oh no, I think they were absolutely going to do it, and then behind the scenes controversy with Brett Cooper happened, and she left her very successful show to start all over on her own. But everything's completely fine over there. But yeah, that movie's not coming out. But I don't think it was a troll.
All right, no, I got my answer. Thanks.
It's funny though, but when we talk about romance and the lack of it, Disney has only had 2 romances in the last 10 years in their anime features, and that was Frozen and Strange World. And the funny thing about Strange World is, there have been 2 movies that nobody showed up to, and that was Strange World, and that was Lightyear, which was Pixar. And I just find it interesting that as Dante was saying, parents know when you're trying to smuggle a message in, and they don't take their kids to those movies. And that's why I think Snow White will do well, because I think the word is that anything Rachel Zegler had said, any of her weird comments are gone. And I think parents feel safe to take their kids to this movie.
Well, Alan, it's really interesting what you just pointed out too, the fact that there's no romance. Romance is no longer in favor in our culture.
Yes.
And it's certainly not the way that people, it's part of how the foundational principles of Western civilization have been slowly chipped away at. I mean, these fairy tales, especially, remember, like you said, these original fairy tales are Disney's interpretation. A lot of these fairy tales are much darker in their original incarnations than they are in these films.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's been the whole idea of someday my prince will come.
Mm-hmm.
That's frowned upon by much of our culture now. And why does she need a man? And that's a huge paradigm shift from where we were when this film was originally made, coming up on 100 years ago.
Right. Even real quick comment. Even the brand of Barbie was in real trouble with millennial moms, young moms, before the Barbie movie came out. Once the Barbie movie literally saved that toy line. So sorry, Dante.
No, I was going to say, I'm actually surprised that in the original draft of this Snow White movie that they didn't have Snow White banging all 7 dwarves just to take back her feminine power and be sexually empowered. I'm joking, but I'm kind of serious. They went out of their way to make this a non-romantic movie.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing:
where she falls in love traditionally with a man.
Here's the thing: it's not that kids aren't asking for romance in their movies. It is us as the adults in the room saying that we're not going to give it to them. Yes. Because I have to believe that if you have romance, kids will resonate with it, and kids still resonate with falling in love and seeing. It's like, how did kids get to be there in the first place? Well, 2 people had to be in love.
Right, but going back to Western culture, there's no romance in almost any movie now, not just Disney movies.
100%.
And it's because, women are being told that you don't need a man, or you are as strong and as capable as a man, which is why a lot of the heroines or women in movies nowadays take on manly traits. And that Disney has been pulling away from romantic love in their movies. Even Frozen. I haven't seen Strange World, but even Frozen, Anna, the sister who falls in love with the wrong man. She's depicted as dumb, right? She can't see through this person. She's easily manipulated and easily used. So that's the type of woman who would want romance in her life, right? So even she is depicted not as strong as Elsa. Elsa's independent. She's of her own. She can do it herself, right? So even she is depicted kind of as lower. And the only time that, Anna really has love in her heart is for her sister. And it's not, she chooses her sister over that man. So it's, when it's depicted in Disney, it's still different. I haven't seen Strange World, so I can't speak on that. But, going back to Western culture, right now, feminism is teaching you that you can do it all on your own. You don't need a man. You can do it by yourself. But at the same time, it's causing women to become more and more depressed and narcissistic as well.
You're 100% right. I mean, you read those surveys like of college kids that they don't want to see relationships between men and women in their entertainment. I mean, these are, you can read these studies, and it's really odd. And I mean, nowadays, I'm surprised that Snow White didn't have her own OnlyFans and make these dwarves subscribe to her, even though she's living with them. You know, we live in a very strange time where, I mean, I even hate the word heteronormative, which is stupid. You mean biological imperatives? I mean, I don't know, but this is part of what's happening in our culture on a number of different levels. And like you said, it's leading people down a different road. And one of the things about fairy tales for anybody is the very idea that it's a fairy tale. It gives you this idealized, this life that you can dream about. Fairy tales are waking dreams. And dreams are not really politically motivated. They deal with what is in our subconscious and what do we really want in our lives, which is ultimately connection with other human beings in whatever way, shape, or form those may take. Romantic being one of the most powerful. But we're too cool for school now. Let's not have that.
We've got another story related to Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler to star in Evita. If you would bring the story up, Alan. So her career is not over, at least on Broadway or on the stage. And having seen some clips from Snow White, I mean, I have to admit, she has a very good singing voice. Alan or Badger, if you would read the story.
Yeah, I got it. Rachel Zegler to star as Evita in Jamie Lloyd revival, limited run here. So Rachel Zegler set to make her London stage debut as Eva Perón in a revival of Evita. Directed by Jamie Lloyd, the production will run for a limited 12 weeks, so it's not going to be gone that long. Engagement at the iconic London Palladium. Lloyd, who met with Zegler in New York, was immediately impressed by her passion for the role, describing her as a phenomenal talent who will blow the roof off the theater. Zegler shared the Evita that Evita has been deeply meaningful to her since childhood, recalling how she and her father used to sing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" together. With Zegler's rising star power, the show could have a future beyond the West End, possibly a Broadway transfer. So limited 12-week West End run.
I think the play will probably be a hit, because people in that community who like stage plays align with her politics. That's all I'll say.
It's the irony that she would make fun of Snow White for being antiquated and old and having horrible messaging, but then fucking Evita is the movie that she loved as a kid.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. Well, Alan, you're muted. You're muted, Alan. Go ahead.
She's a theater kid. I mean, that was very clear from the very beginning. She was great in West Side Story. This is her wheelhouse. Maybe not, press tours are not in her wheelhouse. Musical theater is.
Yeah, there's no denying she has an amazing voice. She does have a phenomenal talent. Like her voice is incredible. Her vocal range is phenomenal. So I think that she belongs on Broadway. Like that's where she would have a very prosperous career on Broadway. And maybe once everything dies down around her, I agree with DA. Like she could be a supporting actress or something on a film, but no doubt in my mind, like she would be very prosperous as on Broadway. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I think you'll see her on Broadway. I think you'll see her in smaller indie movies. The idea of backing a tentpole blockbuster, hundreds of millions of dollars into a movie led by her, that will likely never happen. I don't see that ever happening.
Unless this is a success.
Exactly. Unless this is a success.
And nothing.
PR lessons.
Winning cures everything.
Yes. And what we've heard also, by the way, if the movie is good, that doesn't mean anything. If the movie is bad, that also doesn't mean anything. The recent example being Mufasa. I cannot believe how much money that movie made. And I thought it was one of the worst movies of last year. I think Alan and I are the only people on this panel who saw it. But that movie continued to do business. The Avatar movies, and I actually like the Avatar movies, but I get like those movies they're not culturally resonant, but they get people, they get butts and seats.
Yeah. We also reported that Y2K before it came out was actually a better movie because it leaned into the raunchiness, it leaned into comedy, and whatever A24 did to strip it bare, that's not exactly Rachel Zegler's fault.
Well, I heard that from someone who went to a test screening. It was a different movie. They literally snipped the balls off that film. So we have a lot of super chats and comments and other topics. Let's go to the soups. We'll start with Lord Comet.
Lord Comet for 5. Snow White is going to bomb so hard, but I still love Gal Gadot, though she won't save this movie either.
Thank you, Lord.
Andrew Cram for another 10 film threat memberships.
Wow.
Heck yeah. Appreciate
Bruh.
that. Thank you, Andrew.
Graph Web for 2. In the name of all that is holy, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. A very sacred thing that he does there.
Yeah.
William Summers for 5. The people she pissed off, aka the political right, are much more likely to embrace her if she shows actual remorse versus the other way around.
True. That is true.
True, but also she doesn't feel remorse. K Manifesto for 10. Thanks, Film Threat and panel, for always bringing the best in film industry insights.
Oh, thank you for saying so, Kay.
Crazy Curdy for 5. The way some of you talk about punishing Rachel Zegler lets me know that you have never listened to punk or grunge music and are just puppets, man. Bro, don't shame Dante for wanting to spank the Zeg. Okay? Doing it for us.
Yeah.
David Smart, member for 12
I'm
months.
just saying.
Go ahead, say it. You've listened to grunge. He knows. He's just trying to gaslight us. Laugh out loud. Damage Control. The film gonna be trash. Lord Comet for 5. If you think Snow White will make 400 to 500 million, you'll believe I'm Elvis Presley, or better yet, Superman. I believe you're Superman. Robert, you are muted, my friend.
I'll put $100 bet on that.
On what?
Right now, that Snow White will make over $500 million.
Over
Well,
500?
I actually think
for
you're
Lord
right.
Comet.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
I think
kind of
it'll
think he's
happen,
right
but-
too. It's normies don't pay attention to this shit as much as we think they do.
Yeah, Lord Comet, put up.
Just saying.
Put up your $100 right now.
Chef Sons of Shadow shout out. For
We each
2.
send
Sorry,
$100
happy birthday.
via PayPal to Chris. He'll hold it in.
I think it will.
escrow.
Honestly,
In escrow.
we're
Pilgrim
talking
Media for
global,
2.
right? We're talking entire worldwide.
Global. I was talking global. Yeah.
Yes, I'm talking global.
Can we have a steampunk film from someone?
Yeah, Wild
Or
Wild West.
steampunk, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there's
Steampunk Snow White.
Yeah, the big spider shows up at the end. Jeremiah Hembry, member for 11 months. Should there be more than 2 seasons of Daredevil at the writing was good? Would you give more seasons? Started getting a second season.
You know what? I saw the Paul Chato video. We talked about the low ratings for
Horrible ratings.
Daredevil on Disney Plus. I think it's because audience were kind of done. I mean, how many seasons can you do of Daredevil going, I'm not putting the mask on again, I'm retired? No, I'm not retired. A lot of the themes tend to rotate, and like Netflix, a lot of their series don't go beyond 2 seasons. Paul Chato watches video on that. I
gave on Daredevil on season 3. It was just too much plotting and too much talk.
And even the new stuff, we have to get through season 1, which is them re-editing and barely like season 2 is his actual showrunner, brand new stuff that everyone's checked out though.
Yeah. Anyway,
Pilgrim Media for 2. The chicken heads want hookups, not romance. Correct.
That is
They don't
true.
want no good man.
But their
Dante.
hookups are bad. That's the thing. You can't have a good hookup if you don't have a romantic.
Yeah, but
bone in
Rob,
your
it's
body.
empowering.
Yep.
I guess so.
It's
the best
female,
hookup
it's
was
female
Revenge of
empowerment,
the
right?
I've always believed in bringing that finesse game, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, the best hookup was Revenge of the Nerds.
Robert knows about chicken heads. Rated M for $9.99. The Flash had a stronger cultural hold than Snow White, and the main star also crossed over to normie news because of strongly off-putting controversies. Why are we comparing Snow White to Mufasa and not Flash? Because Disney's movies are in a separate category.
Disney is a different brand. I think DC's brand is to be determined.
DC couldn't force their movie onto a bunch of theaters like Disney can do and has done and will do again.
Mm-hmm.
Emma No Guy for $1.99. Alan speaking Klingon in Vietnamese. Voknam. Voknam. Film threat for $5. That's a Rumble rant, I believe. Let's face it, Disney Plus is really Bluey Plus.
From Joe Maz K.
Joe Maz K.
That's actually true. The numbers on Bluey are insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've got other news stories here beyond Rachel Zegler and Snow White. SAG-AFTRA confirms DEI. Why am I surprised? I'm not surprised. Alan, if you would bring up the story, and Badger, if you would read it.
Yeah, because I need to know what this means exactly.
Yeah, what exactly does this mean?
It affirms DEI, not confirms DEI.
Yeah,
that's a typo.
Okay, so should I change that?
Yeah, you probably should.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah, I need more information, man.
Here we go. Badger, if you would.
Yeah, I don't have notes for this.
Hold on, let me see. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
SAG-AFTRA affirmed its support for diversity, equity, and inclusion on Monday after several major studios walked back their commitments in the face of threats from the Trump administration. The National Board of the Actors Union adopted a resolution stating that DEI is a moral imperative and is also crucial to the creative and economic vitality of our industry.
No, it's not.
In recent weeks, Disney scrapped its Reimagine Tomorrow initiative, which highlighted stories from underrepresented groups, while Warner Brothers, Discovery, Amazon, and Paramount have taken similar steps. The move comes as the Trump administration seeks to stamp out DEI programs in both federal government and the private sector. Among the first initiatives of the Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr was an investigation into DEI at NBC Universal and Comcast. In its statement, the SAG-AFTRA noted its support for diversity stretches back to 1963, when its predecessor union, the Screen Actors Guild, got non-discrimination language in its contracts. That provision, known as American Scene Clause, obligated producers to make every effort to cast performers belonging to all groups in all types of roles.
So where does that? I mean, first of all, this is what we were saying. I don't think that DEI is going to change in Hollywood. I think while the federal government backs away, I think they're just moving full steam ahead. And that's
but the question is, how much money can they keep losing? If they're going to play this game, how much money can they keep losing?
Well, they'll obfuscate, right? They'll try the same thing, but they'll try to be sneaky about it. Now, how much will that work? Like, look at Daredevil 2. Foggy's not there, but McDuffie, his partner, who's a lovely black, powerful woman, is there. Now, maybe she'll get really good writing, but we all still see the switch that was made. So, people are smart to that now.
She hasn't gotten good writing yet.
I know she hasn't.
I find it interesting that they blame the Trump administration versus the box office or ratings.
Yes.
That Americans are just tired of DEI and have turned away from it. But no, you have to blame the Trump administration, who really can't legislate DEI out of the private sector.
See, if they admitted that, then they'd have to admit that, we've been wrong this entire time about the direction that we're moving in. So, of course, they're going to try to blame Trump. So, we got to change it because of Trump.
Sources. They've never actually taken blame for anything. They'll blame the toxic male audience. They'll take they'll blame the toxic white male audience. They'll just blame toxic audiences. They'll blame toxic Disney fans, toxic Star Wars fans,
It's always the
toxic
biggest
Marvel
fault.
fans, toxic DC fans. They have never taken responsibility for anything. So yeah, absolutely, they're going to use this opportunity to say, "Hey, we're going to stick with DEI," and just blame Trump for.
But see, I get the ideology, right? I get that they're committed to their cult, right? I totally get that. Practically, though, they can't afford to keep doing. They can't afford it. They can't afford to keep doing this. Like, so what is the end game here? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
They really think that this is the right way to go.
They
Like,
really think it's
Okay, but the right way to go doesn't mean you're
because they're in it for the long haul. They think that they think that society and culture needs to change around them, not them conforming to what everyday Americans
and they go
want.
out of business then.
Yes, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to.
But you know, we just talked about the box office. We just talked about the people ain't going to theaters no more. People aren't watching movies anymore because of the gunk that we see coming out of Hollywood. So yeah, that's the end goal. They basically are going to end up running Hollywood all the way into the ground, and then we're going to start saying, "Oh, well, I'm going to watch some anime. I'll watch some more YouTube, some TikTok. I'll do everything else, but watch a Hollywood movie." And slowly but surely, somebody will, figure this thing out and go back and start making good movies again. And the world will start the healing.
The thing about something like anime, though, and anybody who's a fan sees that it has an authenticity to it. The creators aren't bound by any of those constraints. And when you think about DEI, which is something I've never understood about this idea, it's not like you have the exact same number of ethnicities in the United States that are all competing for the same job. There are many. The black population of America is what, 13%?
Or interest in the same stuff.
And that's the thing. Of those 13%, how many want to get into Hollywood? And of those people, how many actually make it? So the idea of, like, look, when they made the Equalizer movies with Denzel Washington, care that the Equalizer on TV was a white dude and that Denzel race swapped that white guy, Edward Woodward? The answer to that question, no.
But I cared when Queen Latifah got made the Equalizer on TV instead of Denzel.
Well, but that was a little look. When Anton Fuqua did those Equalizer movies, the first time Denzel looks at his watch, you're in. You're in. You never once ever, if something is good, nobody cares what the colors of the protagonists are. We just want storytelling that's great, that has great actors doing great performances. And that this weird idea of DEI never worked because it skewed everything and made it inauthentic.
Right.
You
understand that, Rob. You understand that. We understand that. Now explain that to Hollywood. They don't seem to understand.
I find it so rich coming from Hollywood, though, right? Because for decades, they're the ones who cast black people as nothing but gangbangers or slaves or buffoons, right? For how many decades?
Gang-banging slaves who are buffoons.
All of a sudden, they want to expand their mind and they want to be, inclusive. It's so phony and fake, like Hollywood, obviously.
Like Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous because they're the ones who created the problem.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, Queen Latifah, when you saw Set It Off, you love that movie.
Well, written.
That's organic.
And directed by a black director.
Love Queen Latifah and Living Single and all that. I just didn't want to see her as the Equalizer. That's all.
No, I've always been a big Queen Latifah fan. It's been a great disappointment in my life. We don't play for the same team because I would have liked to,
I'll just say this.
I know, but I love her. I love her, man.
Yeah.
I think
Last Holiday and Beauty Shop are some of my favorite Queen Latifah.
I think the company that has proven itself to be the worst at organic casting is Disney.
Yes.
They're absolutely the worst. They're so bad because it never feels organic. It always feels shoehorned. I don't know what's going to happen with so-called Black Snape. I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh my God.
Who knows? That actor, I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Papa
what are they going for? Who knows?
or
Papa Asiatu.
He's a good actor, but
Asiatu.
it's just,
he better be better than Alan Rickman. That's all.
It won't matter if he's better than Alan.
It doesn't matter.
It won't
He shouldn't
even
be
matter
fair.
if he is, man. He doesn't belong in that role.
No, he
Right.
shouldn't be fair.
When the movie is organic and it seems like it just makes sense with the story, it's rather than shoehorning or race swapping just a race swap. There's a movie coming out I can't wait to see, a horror film in April, Sinners by Ryan Coogler. Michael B. Jordan plays two characters, twin brothers. And also I don't know anything about the story. all I know is visually it looks amazing, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
But
so
that's
when we talk about diversity, this is the
different.
kind of shit we're talking about. That kind of
Right.
stuff where you're taking good original stories, you're creating
Yes.
good, like meaty material for Black people to work with, right? And by the way, this whole DI thing is not just about Black people. We're talking about
Yeah, of
everybody
course.
here. Everybody.
Yeah, Asians too,
Women,
right, Alan?
Asians,
Yeah.
Yeah.
gays,
Like the
midgets,
Ring when they recast it
everybody.
as white. Yeah.
We're talking about everybody. But my point is, it's like when you write roles that are good for people, right? Then diversity is easy.
Just want to show this.
It's easy and it's natural.
Wait.
I think
gonna
the
start
major
stressing.
problem a lot of people.
I just
Yeah,
wanted
like,
to confirm
national
what someone
diversity isn't
said
a
in the
nation.
chat. Intense,
Yo.
dark chocolate.
Oh,
That's right.
see, guys?
It's
Robert
very
likes
diverse
dark chocolate.
chocolates. There you
Yeah.
Too bad I'm trying to watch
Yo,
my
but
sugar.
like if you look at it, what do people have problem when it comes to this DEI stuff? It's the inauthentic, like Rob is saying, like the race swaps. All right. You don't have to do that. You can create original characters. You can create new roles. You can write original material rather than trying to say, okay, we're going to go back and race swap all of these various characters because we suddenly have this strong need for representation. We got to represent everything, even though we used to never do that. But now we want to do it. And so let's just shoehorn in, random people of different races, ethnicities, genders, and all. And it's like, okay, this is fake. That's not what people are asking for. I said this when The Little Mermaid came out. Little Mermaid's a Danish fairy tale, but they put a Black woman in that. Why?
And gave her
You
red
could have
hair.
went and made, and you could have adapted a African mermaid story.
First
You could
Danish
have
people were
found some-
black. Everyone knows that.
So the
But
sort of
my
Viking.
point, my point is, you could have did something unique, Disney. You could have said, "Hey, we got the Little Mermaid, but this time we're going to the waters of Africa, off the West Africa. We're going to talk about the mermaid stories that exist there. That's unique. Instead of taking Ariel and flipping her around into a Black girl, it's like that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't
No, but
make any
Derek,
sense.
it's a fictional character. It shouldn't matter.
Very
No, but
exciting.
see, but that's
It's a
my
fictional
problem.
character.
What about if you're talking about like diversity, you're talking about culture as well, all right? What about Danish culture resonates with Black people? Because it's a nothing, obviously, right? Nothing. So give us something authentic from the Black community if that's what you care about so badly. But what they really care about is just checking that box. That's all they care about. They can check a box and they can feel good about themselves at the end when they lay their head on their pillow at night. But at the end of the day, it's still fake.
But
you
speaking
How
of
about the
speaking
fact
of,
go
you
to-
know,
Because
Sorry, go
how
ahead.
many stories
Northern-
are in Africa? The problem is they're taking stories that are from these various places, and then why not go? You have thousands of years of African mythology from all of the rich different countries and all of the different societies that have existed. I mean, remember, we all originated in Africa. It's the oldest place to find stories. And there's amazing stories that come out of the African diaspora. Let's tell those tales. That's what DEI should really be all about. Let's tell
Do you
stories
remember
we've
the
never even
reaction?
heard before.
But
Yeah,
here's
Hollywood
the
doesn't see the value in those stories. They don't see value in that.
There
They
you go.
see-
That's it right there.
That's
what
just
it
because they
is.
haven't been told
They don't see
before.
value in that. They're perfectly content with saying, "Oh, you want a Black princess? Let's not make a live action Tiana movie, an original Black princess. Let's not do that. Let's instead take Ariel and make her Black. Here you go. Here's your Black princess." They
Yeah.
don't see any value in actual original Black characters.
That's it right
There
there.
is
There's
no
no
value there.
validity in original Black characters. That's the problem.
But see,
Speaking-
look at what
speaking as
Black
someone who
Panther
is-
taught everybody. Go back to Black Panther and look at the amazing output from the Black community for that movie. All right, because it felt like something that was authentic to Blackness or Black culture or whatever. It went right back to Africa. Hey, we're gonna tell the story about T'Challa and Wakanda, and we're gonna bring in a side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that you've never thought of. And it's like, oh, it takes place in Africa. Look how well that movie did. You had Black people coming up in dashikis, going to the movies, taking their kids 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Hey, man, we're going to make a whole holiday out of this thing. Why? Because it felt real. It felt authentic, even though it is, Black Panther was created by a couple of white dudes. But nevertheless, it felt authentic to us. It's something that Black people said, all right, cool, I can rock with this. That's the problem. They're just race swapping. And Black people aren't going to get anything out of a Black Snape. I don't know what they think we're going to get out of a Black Snape. Like, he ain't Black. All right,
Get some
he
great
ain't black. We
memes.
don't like
Black Panther did well. That was an original black character. They want to be lazy, and give you a race swapped character
Wonder Man.
in order to generate those black dollars, right?
Right.
They want the black dollar without actually
And
having
black
to put in the
jobs.
work.
Don't forget black
Yes.
jobs.
Yeah, don't forget black jobs.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So speaking as someone who is neither white nor black, I have known all my life. This is the hypocrisy of diversity. But when you say the word diversity, it means black. It doesn't mean Asian, and it barely means Latinx.
You're white adjacent, according to the DEI.
Is that how you say it, Latinx?
Yeah,
We-
isn't that how you
Say
guys
however
say
you want, man.
Latinx.
Wait, Alan.
Wow.
How dare you bring up that term in my presence?
I have some friends that are Latinx.
I'm Puerto Rican. I can be offended.
Alan,
I
you
gave
were
the
building
pass.
up to a
Reject
point.
Latinx.
I know, yeah, but my point is, it's highly hypocritical, and this whole idea of diversity is.
Don't forget the
white
gays,
people.
Alan. Does apply to the gays as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Diversity means less white people, more black people.
Yeah, exactly. And
In most
and this
people's
is
statements.
it has been this way since the very beginning. Yes, you can mention the one or two, but what I appreciate about at least the Asian community is that when we make movies, it's fairly universal. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Even Shang-Chi, even it had Asian elements to it. It was still a fairly universal story. I love the fact that we're just not hung up on race like everyone else is.
Here's a weird question I have though. So they're doing all this stuff, right? DEI. They're trying to be inclusive. They're trying to, they're trying to curate this culture, right? Why aren't the people that they're making these movies for supporting them? How come they're not going to watch these movies, right? Because they're making all this shit for them. So how come they're not supporting? How come those people aren't supporting those movies or those?
The gay community didn't come out for Strange World. The gay community
they didn't come out for bros.
They didn't come out for bros.
They didn't come out. I was about to say they didn't come out for bros.
bros.
How many black people went to see Captain America: Brave New World, even though they stuck it right in the middle of Black History
Women
Month?
didn't
that
watch
movie
the
flopped.
Marvels.
Women didn't watch the Marvels.
Women
But they
didn't watch
watched
the
Barbie.
Marvels, yeah.
But they watched Barbie because one was authentic and one wasn't.
So where's this audience, right? for these movies that they're making?
The Asian community came out for Shang-Chi because it was authentic to our culture.
It was truly a wuxia movie.
Mm-hmm.
It fit in the genre. By the way, I want to point out that Warner Archive announced that they're going to release the movie on Blu-ray 3 the hard way. That stars Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, and Jim Kelly as 3 guys that are going to prevent this white supremacist group from launching a thing that'll kill all black people. Why aren't they remaking 3 the hard way?
That would be
now?
great. I would watch that.
That movie.
Come on.
I would watch that. Speaking of
3 the hard way rules.
We have a couple more stories here. We'll get to your soups. Mackie, Anthony Mackie.
Oh yeah.
I love Anthony Mackie.
I do
love
too.
him.
I do too.
Sam Wilson. I really like him as an actor. He's been pretty based, but occasionally he says some crazy things. I gotta say, I think it all works out in the wash. It's more positive than negative. But Alan, you had a video or an article here to show.
Yeah, I have the video here.
Yeah, let's watch it. I want to hear, because the one thing he's talking about, I think Hollywood is afraid of strong black men. That's what it is.
They are.
Seriously, Alan.
No, you're right. They want a sassy as fuck. That's what they want. Like I hate to say it, but Hollywood loves sassy black men.
Bo DeMeo was talking about that. He's the Wonder Man coming out. It's going to be a parody. It's not actually going to be Wonder Man. Who they can't help but
Alan?
I've got what he said while he's waiting for the video. Or are you gonna watch it?
Humble. Like my boy never had a pair of Jordan.
Alan, are you having problems sharing it?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get this video queued up because it's set up weird in the tweet, but it's gonna be small. Here we go. Where's my button here? There we go. All right.
Just go full screen. See that little button to the
2
right?
double arrows.
Two arrows. Go the double arrows. Go to that.
Jordan.
Pause it. Run it back.
My boys don't do all that internet fly. I keep my boys humble. Like my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. My boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And no, I don't give I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tell the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always, since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, you jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
Hold up.
Yeah. So, yeah. I love what he said. I love it. I love it. You get the oldest one right. It gets the others right. That's a very based message. I love what he said.
I think Anthony Mackie is actually pretty based. I know he says he puts his foot in his mouth sometimes and says some things he shouldn't say, or he doesn't say it the right way. But overall, I've seen enough of his stuff that I get that he's a base guy trying to maneuver through Hollywood and still get roles, which is very hard to do. You know what's funny though, I talked about this on George's show yesterday. The biggest pushback he's getting from this video is from Black women, which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. The biggest pushback is from Black women, and I'm like, how did this happen? Like, how the hell did this happen?
And he's talking about being a father. A great responsible father, and how to bring up kids in this crazy social media drenched environment.
I mean,
and you know what? And he'll probably get some shit from Hollywood about this because they hate masculinity. And let's be honest about it, they do. They call it toxic. What they mean is they hate masculinity.
And that's why when you say why are the Black women the hardest to push back on them? That's the exact reason. It's because they don't like the masculinity of a Black man any more than Hollywood or anybody else does. They're afraid of it. And I don't know what it is. It's just something in the community that's been around for a long period of time.
It's because they
Black women kind of see themselves as the leaders.
That's really what it is.
Yeah. And they don't like somebody else, especially a man, coming in saying, hey, I get my children in check. This is what I would do with my boys, because they don't run their households like that. And their households are, hell, just to be honest with you, it's hell in a lot of these households.
A lot of single mothers out there too. I mean, the nuclear family is also something that's become a novelty in the Black community.
Unfortunately,
Anthony Mackie's bringing back, what he really is talking about? American values. Being Captain America, he's talking about the strong father has not just left the Black community, it's left all communities because it's being put down, being what a father's supposed to do and show kids how to be. I love what he said about being polite. You say, my father always said, you shake somebody's hand, you shake their hand hard, you look them straight in the eye. You always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. If you haven't met somebody, it's Mr. or Mrs. You open doors for people. This was basic stuff that I was learning as a kid. You never hear anyone talk about it, and to hear him talk about that, I mean, that to me is what America is. He was speaking about what I used to hear as a kid growing up, not just from my dad, but from all dads. Straighten up and fly right, as they used to say.
American male instead of the Black, because it's all American males.
That's
it's
what
been
I mean.
Going on for a long time.
George Carlin had American masculinity. He had mentioned
George Carlin had a
in the
bit
video.
in the late 90s called the pussification of the American male, and it's only got more relevant in the last couple of decades.
The only issue I have is Anthony Mackie is in Hollywood working for Disney, basically a company that's attributing to the problem. And I don't know if he could have that same conversation with Disney that he just had with these football players, but he probably needs to. If anybody can do it, maybe he could step in and say, hey, let's stop making American men and, demasculating American men. Let's stop doing that. on our movies, on our films, because every movie that we see lately, it's always some simp that's, like we was just talking about with Jack Quaid and Novocaine. Like, that's what we're looking at when it comes to our heroes, and we need to get back to actual masculine heroes, masculine men doing masculine things, saving the day.
Just 3 days ago, we had that article or that picture of Pedro Pascal and Oscar Isaac, embracing each other and them calling it positive masculinity. I'm like, what is that?
Look, I'll just say this: Hollywood, it doesn't have a lot of people that look for masculinity. A lot of people in high positions are not looking for that. People work in casting. There's a different agenda of a type that's being sought after.
Well, they're trying to change the definition of masculinity. That's the problem.
They're feminizing it. They're feminizing masculinity. They're turning women into men and men into women. Like they're feminizing masculinity. And
they're calling Pedro Pascal hugging another man.
You have your inherent masculine traits as a man.
Masculinity.
If you have your inherent masculine traits as a man, if you embrace those, if you act just like a regular man, oh, well, you're toxic. You need to start thinking about your masculinity and really, thinking about how you would make a woman feel about that. Maybe you should, change how you inherently are at your core, right? How like biologically you act around certain things. You need to change that because biologically you are toxic. So therefore you need to be changed.
That's why they call it man bun masculinity.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's called man bun masculinity. That's what this is, right? Because here's the thing. We're not even talking about just, they're single moms, sure. But even now, men in the home are being portrayed as wimpy, simpy. The woman is the smartest. The woman is the strongest. The woman makes all the decision. And the guy's just there. He's just there to hold her purse while she, raises the kids and does the things that he's basically supposed to do. Look at any TV show where the dad is the goof. He's not the man of the house. He's the comic relief.
Mm-hmm. In a lot of movies with married couples, the mom is the more responsible one that I've noticed, and she won't wash a dish, she won't fold clothes, she won't do anything that would be considered like a gendered role. It's the dad that's doing it. You see it in commercials on TV too. A lot of the commercials, like I don't know, household cleaners or stuff around the house, they're no longer being cast as, women using these cleaners. It's all men. Men are, in laundry commercials now. Men are picking up the kids from school now. They're stopping all of the gender role type things, and they're doing it for men. They're putting men in there as if like, the man is the one that's going to be doing all of these things, right? All of these gendered roles. They're swapping all of that out. And if you are married, well, guess who's the man of the house? Not the man, it's the woman.
Yeah, why don't they show women? This sounds weird. Why don't they show women mowing the lawn, changing the oil? You don't see women
paving roads.
You don't see women doing traditionally male roles because they're not sexy. That's hard work that women generally don't do, probably because maybe they shouldn't. I'm going to be honest. There's certain things, maybe they're gendered roles for a reason. So I'm just saying.
I saw a video actually earlier this morning. It was 50 Cent, and he was being interviewed. I forgot by who, but he said that he was reading through, I don't know, so it was either Variety or one of the magazines, where he came across an article that said RuPaul is the most important black man in America. Right, the most successful black man in America, the most creative, something along those lines. And I'm like, really, RuPaul. See,
by the way, every time I see
that's
him,
what they want to hold up as right, as successful black.
Every time I watch him,
in general, but black men specifically.
Whenever you watch 50 Cent and he opens his mouth, I love that guy more and more.
Yeah,
that guy to me,
he's very based.
He is so based and so honest and so authentic, but he's also wicked smart.
Yeah.
He knows what's up.
And he was questioning it. He's like, how is RuPaul the most successful black man in America? By whose metrics?
Mm-hmm.
Switching, final story for today, and then we'll go to Soups. Starship Troopers is getting a remake. Here we go. Really, the headline is the story. Starship Troopers redo in works at Sony from Neil Blomkamp. Actually like Neil Blomkamp. If someone can do it, it'll be Neil Blomkamp. What do we think about this? Will it be more accurate to the book?
Can I read this first part that it actually addresses that?
Read the first part.
I've got it brought up. It says, Deadline has confirmed that new Starship Troopers is happening with Sony by, of course, District 9 filmmaker Neil Blomkamp. The new movie will go back to the 1959 source material by Robert A. Heinlein and will not be based on the 1997 Paul Verhoeven movie. The original movie, of course, made $100 million, shot for rather $100 million, and only made 121 worldwide. So they're going to base it on the book.
So no boobs.
Oh, that would be unfortunate.
You know, I never had like a dog in a fight when it came to this. I guess it's a franchise, right? Because there was more than one.
Yeah,
there's like 5 movies.
Yeah,
There's 5 movies?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
It's
Starship
even an
Troopers
Avalon
2,
Hill board game.
Starship Troopers 3 Marauder, and then 2 CGI films, Starship Troopers Invasion and 2017 Starship Troopers Traders of Mars.
Wow, had no idea.
Yeah.
But as long as it has the sensibilities of Chappie, then I'm okay with that.
Neil Blomkamp is the only one I think could handle this and do it accurate to the source material, not make it a failed parody, but actually show you the horrors of the intergalactic
parody.
war.
Come on now.
Come on.
What?
They make it look pretty cool. They make them look all like good-looking badasses killing evil bugs.
Here's what it could look like. Here is a 1950s Super Panavision 70 AI trailer. There is one. Let's look.
Where the stars are a playground and danger lurks among the cosmos, comes a story of courage, patriotism, and bugs. That's right. Meet Johnny Rico, a young recruit with dreams as big as the universe itself.
Wow, he looks like Casper Van Dien.
Yeah.
He does,
Armin, the fearless fly girl,
Looks like Denise Rich.
Carl, the brainy bookworm, and Dizzy, the fiery fighter with a heart of gold.
Wow,
They
okay.
embark on a journey of self-discovery and intergalactic warfare. But beware, for lurking in the shadows of space are the fearsome arachnids.
Chris owns stock
These
in these.
vile
That's why he
creatures
chose them.
seek only one thing: the destruction of humanity. Under the command of the indomitable Lieutenant Rassak, the grizzled leader who lives by one rule: everybody fights, no one quits. Can Johnny and his comrades stand against the swarm, or will Earth fall into the clutches of these cosmic horrors? Strap in for a wild adventure across the stars where every moment could be your last. Join the fight for humanity, Starship Troopers, because the only good bug is a dead bug. Coming soon to a theater near you. Would you like to know more?
Hey, you know what? As long as we get like another shower scene with Dina Meyer, I'm in.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
in.
Oh, yeah.
Dina, if you're watching this, just know you are loved.
Oh, yeah.
You are
oh,
loved.
so profoundly loved.
I think if they stick more to the book, this could be good. I
Power
mean,
armor,
you know,
yeah.
I just have concerns, and this is another conversation for another time. CGI effects are not getting better.
Mm-mm.
They are
Which is weird, man.
objectively getting worse. Shouldn't they be better than, 1992 Jurassic Park? Shouldn't they all be better?
Well, we know why that is. It's because they don't give the effects, they're overworked and they don't have enough time to finalize and stay on one decision and constantly changing like Captain America. But like Godzilla, when they're left alone, it's good. It's just rarely that they're left alone.
That's
It's
true.
also it's about the design of effects work. The first Starship Troopers still to this day is an amazing feat of actual practical model work combined with CG. I mean, that attack and also practical bug effects. When those bugs lay siege in broad daylight to that base, Starship Troopers, it's amazing.
Practical sets with all the overlay of the thousands and thousands of bugs.
And then using those practical the makeup effects when a bug will like impale someone's leg. I mean, there's and that's Verhoeven was a master at that kind of thing. I mean, he was coming off of RoboCop and Total Recall and Basic Instinct, and then Starship Troopers. It was a pretty groundbreaking movie. But the book, I was saying earlier today, because if you go back to Heinlein's source material, The same way that John Carpenter went back to John W. Campbell's story, Who Goes There, when he made The Thing. You've got the original The Thing, but Carpenter went back and went back to that source material. I think Neil Blomkamp could do a fantastic job if he leaned into Hyland's original book and brought out in our divided political age. You don't even have to necessarily make it a satire. You can really, drill down into our politics as great science fiction does in an allegorical way. This could be
the
great
themes
film.
of the original book.
What's that?
What were the themes in the original
Well,
book?
it had these same themes, things like fascism and
jingoism, the military-industrial complex, shit like that. But
all of that.
The issue is the movie makes them look sort of cool, killing a bunch of bugs. And at the end of the day, if it's us versus killer bugs, bro, the only good bug is a dead bug.
Let's go to soups now as we wrap up the show, because it is my people's holiday, St. Patrick's Day.
Nice.
Shout out to
Shout
out to the Irish. Shout out to the I'm wearing
Waterford, Ireland, Chris. Where are you from?
Yes. Who else wore green? I wore green.
You repping your colors?
Green. Rob has green background. Rob has a green background. That
I got hazel eyes, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Steph trying to hurry up and do a hat switch. Nope, it's too late, Steph.
Too late. Get pinched at school.
I got it.
All right.
Look, I got a green one. Oh, she got a fight night.
Here we go.
Fighting Irish. There we go.
Alan, if you would take over on soups, I will be right back.
Lord Comet for 2. Affirmed is 2 FFs. There are 2 film. What the hell? 2 FFs. There are Chris Gore, not 3. There are 2 FFs.
Affirmed is 2 FFs.
I'm not sure what that is, but Chris Gore, not 3.
Okay.
Thigs 93 for 5. Where are we going to see when the Star Wars comes? Yeah,
I love that comment. I did it twice. Yeah.
Dr. Fauci's pardon prison butt. Oh, which just got reversed for 5. The problem in our world is the theater kids versus normal people. They want a war they can't win in real life. The left is just a haven for mentally ill people. Well, let's not blame theater kids.
Oh, we can't actually.
Probably a lot of overlap. Rebel Sky for 199. To what Rob said, it should have been called Snowly fans.
Full of only Snow White cosplayers.
Yeah.
A serious man. Member for 12 months. I need some film threat other than popcorn.
Film treat.
Film treat other than
See, I'm programmed to only read film threat. Sorry. Dr. Fauci's pardon prison butt for 5. How much money can a studio lose? Ask Rob. Anyone with a brain knows they'll create shell companies and lend money to themselves.
Well, you got to remember that studios are borrowing money from banks to make movies. And while every movie is its own company, it's still, they do have to pay the banks back. So, but there are, there's ways to do there's ways to do this very creatively. Yes.
A serious man for 5. Only Disney character I ever really connected with was Beast, or was that Fox? I mean, that was Fox.
How about Robin Hood? The Fox Robin Hood, the animated Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I love that one.
MNO guy for 199. Jim Big Knock Kong Dao Hang Chung Maon Le Allen.
Okay.
You could have put a little bit more Klingon into that. Come on now.
I think that was Vietnamese, but either way, I could put more Klingon. You're right. Rated M for 499. Anime is far from safe. Certain banks are refusing to approve loans for studios in those markets that don't comply with certain guidelines.
ESG.
Does that mean no more Bible Black for me?
Doesn't FFS stand for fuck's sake?
Yeah, for fuck's sake, yes.
Okay. Just curious.
Zian Hugh, well, the way it was spelled didn't look like it was for fuck's sake. Zian Hugh for $7.42. There are plenty of stories out there with diverse characters. They could adapt those stories. They don't need to make new ones from scratch.
It's Jean Hu for 742. That's how
Sean Hu.
X is a Z sound, but Jean.
Well, for you white people, yes.
Yes, sorry, thank you. Neil Horn for 5. Here's an authentically diverse movie for you. The Blues Brothers. It's 45 years old. It's a joy to watch and a great
Love
film.
that movie.
Yeah.
Andrew Cram for 5. What's the exchange rate with black dollars? Yes, they want black dollars. What's the exchange rate? Mexican Iron Man for 10. No one telling the ancient story of the Aztec tortilla boy that traveled north to discover the smoking hot blonde chick that he would bring back home to the Aztec pyramid pool party. Hashtag true Mexican love.
Hey, thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.
I'd watch that movie.
I would watch that movie.
Wizard Man 2. Just don't have Jack Black play the guy. Wizard Man for 2. Assassin's Creed Shadows is the best example of DEI. Yes. Specifically removed an already established character to put in a black samurai because of the BLM movement at the time, and now they're stuck. NDI for 5. Everything wrong in the USA right now could be summed up in one word: spite. Spiteful against straights, whites, and men. That's why it's insincere. Pilgrim Media for 5. Remember Tu Wong Fu, which my co-host just saw and was very upset at us. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar, 1995. It started there. Yes, Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo in drag. Mexican Iron Man member for 31 months.
Wow,
I'm
thanks, Mike.
South Carolina. Despite everyone thinking we are racist, it's all polite. Yes, sir, ma'am, here. It's nice to see families and men raising young men.
Well, isn't Mackie from the South? He's from New Orleans? Something like that?
Yeah, I think he might be.
Yeah.
Mr. Kirk, 2019 for $4.99. I want to see a well-written sequel to 1993's Posse and a well-written sequel remake to Meteor Man.
Meteor
Also
Man.
named
Meteor
after-
Man,
Bro,
yeah.
Robert
Pound got
Townsend
the first
and
big-
Mario
yeah,
Van
Meteor
Peebles
Man.
directing again.
First black
Let's do it.
superhero.
I would do that. I would love that.
And Blank Man, by the way. Rudy for 5. One thing the left is good at is changing the definitions of words. It's literally like 1984.
Yep.
Snakes and Funerals for 2. I hope those morons from Die Antwerp aren't in it.
Antwerp is different.
Some Norwegian guy member for 1 month. Apropos the thing, heard the news from Antarctica.
There was an assault at a scientific base amongst the scientists, if that's what they're talking about.
Like,
Is that
like,
true?
like for real?
Apropos.
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't speak French. Sorry. Apropos. Fun with collecting 199. 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor. Cheers.
Cheers.
Lord Comment for 2. You spelled affliction wrong earlier. Go check it. We're kind of retarded. Mr. Kirk, 2019 for 1999. Hollywood hates masculinity and sexy women. For example, we would hear and see backlash if we saw in a sci-fi series skirts and boobs on attractive female officers, like in the 1960s Star Trek series or the 1987 The Next Generation series. But there was a man in a scant, which is the pant skirt thing.
Make women sexy again. And thank you, Mr. Kirk, 2019. Very generous super chat.
Jeff for 5. At what temperature does gender fluid become a solid?
None. Thanks, Jeff. And that is going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank our mod, Lord Thoth. Thank Atomic Glory, Glanuccio.
Oh, Chris, can I share something real quick?
Yeah, please.
Share my screen. I'm right now hosting a March Madness tournament. So this is March Madness. You guys may know this. And it's the best action hero. So right now polls are up. You can go and vote for whoever your best favorite action hero is. I'm going through the entire bracket. We got 4 regionals. Indiana Jones leads 1 regional. John McClane, James Bond, the Connery James Bond, and John Wick. You can kind of see all of the other action heroes that are listed here. We got ladies and guys mixed in there. But yeah, go to my channel. You can see the polls are up. Right now, I think I have Optimus Prime going up against Captain Jack Sparrow, who's going to come out on top in that one. We got Jack Ryan going up against Lee from Enter the Dragon. So that poll is up. So
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
On my channel, on my YouTube page.
Oh, it's
under
actually on the
posts.
channel. Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so I put this on my channel on the post. So go to posts when you go to the my channel, Derek Anderson, the DA, and you'll see the polls there. I want to get as many people voting in as possible. You know, just whoever's your favorite. I got 2 more that I'll be putting up today, and then we're going to work through this entire bracket, and we'll find out who is the best action hero of all time. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. Hopefully you guys are good out there and vote. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't see Daisy Ridley on that list.
And last super chat here from Sons and
Happy
Channels, $2.
St. Patty Days. Chris, this is your day. Happy St. Patty's Day for two.
Appreciate that. Okay, we will be links to everyone's channel.
It's drinky time. Fat Gore for two. It's drinky time.
I gotta go. I wanted to end the show a half
We're drinking.
hour early. So no, why are you putting that? Why are you doing that?
Oh, I thought you wanted to end the show.
I want to end the show.
Yeah, end the
Otherwise,
show.
I'm
I'm putting the music on. I'm playing you off.
We'll see you tomorrow night on this channel for a late night stream, early reaction to Snow White. Alan, who are you bringing? Do you have a plus one? You bring?
Yes, my daughter. My daughter.
You bring your daughter. All right, I'm bringing Dante. This is my plus one. So there you go. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Then back Wednesday for Hollywood on the Rocks, and our least favorite show, the Friday show, where we review movies that open in theaters. Because there are no movies anyone cares about opening in theaters, but please watch our Friday show. Alan and I have fun, and it's good. All right.
There are a lot of movies no one sees.
We see all the movies no one gives two shits about. That's our thing. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Robert My Burnett.
Happy birthday, Robert.
Happy birthday, Rob.
Absolutely,
Badger. Rob. Steph, appreciate you. Dante, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do happy hour before. Probably do Yard House. DA, I'll see you the next time at the movies. And absolutely. Alan, remind me, I have something in the trunk of my car for you.
Oh, who'd you kill this time?
Don't let me forget. Don't let me forget. All right, Alan.
Smell.
Let's get out of here.